Hello, hello. Man, you guys will have to you'll have to deal with my scratchy voice still. Oh, man, I wasn't ready. What was I doing? I should have been more ready. All right. There we are. Let me get myself situated. Whew. Ah. So, who we got in here? And good evening to you, my fine sir. It was. Man, it was a nice weekend, wasn't it? Bingo. Bingo. Spot on, buddy. You know what's up. Heck yeah. All right. Anyway, sorry about the short notice. Most of my folks catch it on the replay anyway because, they're not crack squad. They have jobs and stuff. I think it's funny how, the little cowards use the excuse that Johnny Goebel, Dagburn, his wife lets him stay home and do what the hell ever he wants. He's got himself over an addiction and he's on treatment for that, which is a very real thing. And they use the excuse that he isn't working for their real life attacks on his life. Right? Like just messing with the guy every way possible, even trying to mess with his wife's job. And the reality of it is none of that's true. Because if that was true, they would be doing the same thing to their so-called friends because 2/3 of Crack Squad are unemployed losers on the government dole. I mean, let's just keep it real. How's come you're not making videos about Wade Deaver every single day? He's unemployed, lying to people, telling them he's got terminal cancer and 2 vital organs for 2 years without a single dose of radiation. I have no doubt maybe he's had cancer, but not terminal stage 4 cancer in 2 vital organs for 2 years with no decline, no radiation. Didn't happen, isn't possible. I'm a living example of that. So, anyway, moving ahead, who we got here? Pitbull, we love us a mega. Yes, sir. And Harlow Blonde, such a good patriot. Good evening. How we all doing here? So, I just wanted to share my opinion about some stuff, really. I really got nothing big to say. I kind of wanted to talk about, there's this other channel I've been watching for a long time because the guy is from where I'm from. And I used to see him around when my wife and I would go to storage auctions and estate sales. We would see this guy. So naturally started watching his channel, was very convinced that he was a good guy and appeared to be. And in much the same way, I mean, it's almost like a replay of the Upchurch saga that we're seeing, right? These people are proof that money can't make you happy. It can make you a hell of a lot of things, but it sure as hell can't make you happy or content. And I just find it striking that there are people out there that are totally okay with someone using massive amounts of social media influence as a weapon to beat up on the people they have an issue with and to get thousands of their fans to hate someone that they have a problem with. It's an abuse of the whole program, right? When you've got a million subscribers, close to a million subscribers, there's a responsibility that goes with that gift that's been given you. So your fans have gave you a gift. You've managed to get a million or more people, or close to a million or more people, to subscribe to your channel and follow what you're doing. They're into your game. There is a responsibility that comes with that. The same as there's a responsibility for someone in a New York play not to walk out on stage and scream fire. Okay. There's a responsibility that goes with that. And when you see someone severely abuse that responsibility, it's bad, man. It's like being a massive bully. Me too, man. Love them a lot. Man, if I didn't do that, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably lose my mind. Anyway, and we saw what Upchurch did, like using the social media influence. Look how many people hate Johnny Goebel because of Ryan Upchurch. Look how many people hated and still do hate on Zanime, a very fine young lady that worked her way up, migrated here from Ukraine, served 2 terms in our military, law-abiding citizen, never did anything to anyone. And because of Ryan Upchurch, there are thousands of people that hate her and think she's like some bad person. That's being irresponsible with your influence. You're using it as a weapon. And the same with the Kylie Rodney case. All the nonsense, that family, every time they look online, they got to see his bullshit Scooby-Doo conspiracy being repeated. It's irresponsible. Well, this other guy, who I thought was a good dude, I'm not going to promote his channel. I don't want to. He doesn't deserve it. People have nicknamed him the Germ. Anyway, he bought some property in Otter Creek, Florida, and within days, he was making videos going after his neighbors. Now, what had happened was, he bought this property, and the previous owners of the property didn't really care about the property, so they didn't manage it in any way, and they didn't take care of it in any way. So, like, people that lived nearby had parked maybe some junk cars slightly over the property line, and nothing was said. And there was a dirt road that cuts back to a cell tower that's on the property. And because the previous owners just really weren't caring, a lot of the locals, that was like a place to go and drive back there and maybe park with your girl, or drive back there and maybe party a little bit, play with the devil's lettuce, whatever. So he buys this property, and instead of being like a neighborly guy and saying, hey, I know you guys were allowed to do this before, but I own it now, and I just kind of want to, put a stop to that if you don't mind. No, he started recording them, putting them on his channel with nearly 1 million subscribers, fully doxing them, telling everybody their names and that they're trashy people because they slightly infringed on his property when they were allowed to do it before he bought it. And he had a survey done, and just very abusive to these people right off the rip. So imagine you live in this little town of 100 people. 100 people. That's the population. In moves this dude. This dude buys some acreage there, and all of a sudden he's just screaming and yelling and attacking everybody and videotaping them and doxing them and putting them on. It'd be pretty hard to like a guy like that right away. And he had some neighbors that, well, let me back up. The town clerk and the town mayor just like, they were just dumb hicks. And they had been the clerk and the mayor on and off many times over the years and set in their ways. And this town clerk had overbilled him for water, which was wrong. She shouldn't have done that. But there was an event where he, first thing he did was tell all his subscribers her real name and what a piece of crap she was. And next thing you know, they're calling there, they're leaving nasty messages, doing exactly what Crack Squad does. Just doing exactly what Crack Squad does. And so it was wrong for her to do that. She shouldn't have done that. But I don't think she deserved the punishment she got. Okay. So she's there one day. He comes in with a camera, walks into her office and is recording her and asking her a bunch of questions. And she just didn't like it real much. So she didn't feel safe in that office alone with this 6-foot dude standing in the doorway, griping at her on camera. So she was trying to get out. She wanted out of that little office, out into the common area. And he's standing in the doorway, blocking her. And she slightly just put her hand on his shoulder to kind of push him aside so she could squeeze out the door. And he charged her with assault. She's 60-some years old, and she had a stroke. The pressure of it all, she ended up having a stroke. And I mean, it messed her up. So there's that. And then another neighbor, this lady moved there because she was a big fan of his. And she thought, oh boy, I'll move there. Maybe I can get a job working for his channel and all this. She had all these ideas in her head, and they just didn't hit it off for whatever reason. They didn't hit it off. He didn't want nothing to do with her. So she read a court case about him doing some things he probably shouldn't have done. And she put that on a poster and put it around the little town there. And that started a feud between them. And he makes videos about her every day, and he has thousands of people hating her. Well, she ended up getting a restraining order against him. And along with the restraining order come a restriction with him having, these, poo-poos. And that's a big part of his business, because you buy storage units, you find guns. So anyway, he gets that privilege taken away along with the restraining order and injunction. I think the judge was biased towards him. The judge was one of these guys that just don't like YouTubers. And he was clearly biased. No question. I'll grant him that. But he makes videos about her every day, and he's not supposed to even be bothering her. She's got a restraining order against him, and he slanders her. Her grandson came to visit her. He immediately doxed him, immediately started slandering him. Her boyfriend, her live-in boyfriend, got arrested for something that had nothing to do with him at all. Well, he made it all his business. So how do you get at somebody that's got a restraining order against you without getting arrested? Well, he owns property across the entire road frontage of this very short street that this lady lives on. So directly across the street from her driveway, he clears off a 1-acre lot, and he's letting his buddy use it to make this like stupid hillbilly playground called Tube Town. Well, you know why it's there, and I know why it's there. And so he can have cameras and they can watch her 24 hours a day, and he can make videos every time she takes a crap or she takes a pee or she drinks a cup of coffee or she swats a bee. He's making a video about it. He even had microphones up in the trees and crap. I mean, just way over the top stuff. Okay. Tormenting this lady. What she did, putting the little signs up, saying crappy stuff about him, wrong. I'll grant him that. But once again, she doesn't have 800,000 crack squad type fans to fight for her like he does. So he puts a guest book in the mailbox at this tube town and invites people to come and sign the guest book. Wink, wink. Okay, so he makes this claim that he doesn't tell his, just like Upchurch, I don't tell my fans to do anything. Well, when you tell them, I'm watching you, man, and you guys that got my back, I'm going to have a party for you. Well, that says, go mess with the people I have a problem with. And he's doing the same thing. Well, guess what happens every time one of his fans come to sign the guest book at Tubetown? Well, you know, and I know, they holler crap at this lady and try to get her attention so they can get her on video and get a pat on the back from the, you know, his fans and him. And, you know, it's really messed up what he's doing to these people. And so there's that reason why I now know he's not a good guy. He's a bad guy. Well, in addition to that, he does the typical, this person, you know, that calls my phone, we know who it is. Responsibility's coming for them. Anyway, lips are dry. It's one of the problems with having to take that daggone chemicals, man. Dries your ass out. So anyway, where was I? So, you know, he's inviting these people to do crappy stuff to her. You know, his fans come there, torment the crap out of her. And then he justifies his actions by tricking the low IQ people around him, the crack squadians that follow him, by doing a for-profit act of charity on camera. Okay. So what he'll do is, they call it restoraging the love. Okay. And that is, okay, someone's got a storage unit, obviously, right? And for some reason, they don't pay the rent on it and it goes to public auction. You buy the storage unit and you make a video. You make a video going to the auction, bidding on it and buying it. You upload that, monetize to YouTube. You make, you know, on a channel with, excuse me, on a channel with 800,000 subscribers, that's $2,000 any day. Okay. Then you make another video unboxing the storage unit. Okay. You upload that to YouTube, monetize. There's another $2,000 guaranteed. Then, you know, you find their name on some paper in there and you get a hold of them and ask them if they're willing to sign an NDA if you give them all the shit back, and you film them getting it back. And they agree to that. So then you make a 4-part video series, Restoraging the Love. Okay. So now you got 4 videos, a 4-video series you upload to YouTube, monetize, which is good for $8,000 to $10,000. So now we're $16,000 to the green on a $200 charity act. Okay. And we both know None of that would happen if he couldn't videotape it and monetize it. He would give that shit back to them, no way in hell. If he couldn't videotape it and monetize it, that shit would be on eBay before the sun came up. Okay. So he tricks his crack squadian fan base, because they're just exactly like Crack Squad, extremely low IQ people, into thinking he's some kind of saint. Look at these charitable things he does. He did this for-profit charity event called Christmas in the Creek. Okay. And what he did was give away all the kids' toys he got out of storage units that he couldn't sell. He gave it away. Made videos and monetized them and put them on YouTube. He probably made about $6,000 off the whole deal and got rid of all his junk. I'm not kidding, man. And these people justify all the crappy stuff he does because he did this charity thing. You know, just like Ryan. Oh, well, Ryan gave a homeless guy a van. So that means he can slander Xana May and accuse her of doing heinous stuff to children. And he can torment the Rodney family for 2 years, telling them their child never existed. And because, you know, he gave a homeless guy a van. I mean, that's it in a nutshell, right? And if you're real low IQ, you'd fall for that. If you've got the brains of at least a dog above a mutt, you would know it's nonsense. It's not charity. It's a way to make money. It's a thumbnail. It's clickbait. And so there's that. And then he started doing the really crappy thumbnails where he would put a thumbnail up that says something like, I bought a storage unit and found 2 bodies in it. You know, and he got this shocked face on a police car sitting in the back. And, you know, and you click on the thumbnail to watch the video of these bodies in a storage unit. And it's a dead goldfish in a fishbowl. You know, and he started doing that. That's a big turnoff if you got an IQ above a 2. So then, and mind you, he doesn't need to do any of this. He had people watching videos, making a decent income. He didn't have to do any of this. You know, on an 800,000 subscriber channel, and you're averaging 40, 50 thousand views per video, you know, you're going to make 10, 15 grand a month off YouTube with a channel his size, maybe more. It's probably more than that. Why mess it up by getting greedy? That's what I don't understand. Just like we saw with Upchurch, Crack Squad still won't own it, but Heavy Duty Country gets more views than Ryan Upchurch does these days. He's ruined his channel and ruined his algorithm for no reason, just other than stupidity. So, where was I? I don't want to lose my train of thought. So, one more thing about this dude. So, when he was in Ohio, not too far from where I'm sitting right here, his buddy was asked to keep an eye on these 2 commercial buildings by the man that owned them. And he passed away. And his wife was then asking this, you know, I think the deal he made with her was he could use one of those buildings to put his like equipment in, and he would keep an eye on the place for her. Well, he rented space to this dude under the table without the lady knowing. She is getting older now and wants to go move into assisted living. And, so, she's got someone there to help her all the time. She's got no grass to mow. She can get her meals cooked for her, that sort of thing. That's my first wife. That's where she's at right now. And now, I left her a nice house, and, but she got where she didn't want to be alone anymore. She wanted somebody, so she sold everything and went into assisted living. Well, that's what this lady wanted to do. So she wanted to sell her building. And unbeknownst to her, here's this dude. He's got all this stuff he bought from storage units stacked in this warehouse she owns. And she's like, I don't care what went on. Just please, can you get it out so I can sell my building? And he took her to court and tied her up for 2 years, trying to claim he had some legit lease rather than just get the hell out and let the lady sell the building like a Christian person would do. And his fans hate this lady now. He made 100 videos about this lady, talk about what a horrible person he was. And he tricked all his fans into believing he won in court. And he didn't. He got his ass handed to him. He had to get the hell out of her building, and he didn't get a dime. And he's telling his fans, I'm suing her, and she's going to have to pay my moving expenses, and blah, 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 blah. And turns out, judge said, get out of her building, buddy, and don't waste no time doing it. He had a box trailer sitting there that got stolen. Box trailers get stolen all the time. I had one stolen from me. My brother had one stolen from him. My brother's got stolen with his Harley in it. Mine just had a few boxes of stuff in it from a flea market, and somebody just backed up to it and hooked onto it and took off with it. I had insurance on mine. This knucklehead didn't. So anyway, he blamed her for that. Like some 70-year-old lady, 80 years old, I think she was 80 something, is going to steal a box trailer, for God's sakes. So there's that saga. And it's so much like Orion Upchurch 2.0. It's unbelievable. It's like, how are these two YouTubers, two of them, that I really liked and had a lot of respect for, turn out to be just absolute turds? It's just unbelievable. And now, you guys tell me how you would feel about this, okay? On his way up, he did collaboration videos with a lot of these other guys that do storage unit videos. At the time, a few of them had more subscribers than him. They had actually been at it longer than him. But YouTube wasn't their primary focus. Their primary focus is buying and selling. YouTube is just a side gig they do while they're doing it. It's not a living to them. In other words, if they couldn't make a YouTube video tomorrow, it probably wouldn't have any impact on their life at all, because they make their money buying and selling the contents. Him, if he couldn't make money on YouTube tomorrow, he'd be filing bankruptcy in a week. He is 100% dependent on that money because he's focused more on YouTube and slacked off the other side. So it's just remarkable that here's these two channels I'll watch. And they both burn their channels down doing dumb stuff for no reason, because I don't think he realizes how many people are turning on him. I see the silent rumble underneath. People are starting to make videos about him, talking bad about him. That's going to start to impact his algorithm. and it's just going to get worse and worse. Okay. So one of these guys that he did collaboration videos with, and I mean, I'm talking a bunch. They went to Hawaii together, him and his girlfriend, you know, as couples, both of them and their girlfriends. They went to California together, did collaboration videos. They did multiple combined, you know, storage unit purchases and unboxings. They've just done regular vlogs where they're just hanging out, parties, cookouts, whatever. There is absolutely no way you could ever say they were not friends. They absolutely were friends. You don't take somebody to Hawaii with you and them not be your friend. I mean, you know, you don't spend a week with somebody traveling and you don't like them. I mean, come on. So you guys tell me how you would feel about this. The YouTuber with all the subscribes, him and his girlfriend are on and off all the time. They have a very toxic relationship. He's an egotistical maniac, just like Upchurch. He cannot take the slightest smidgen of criticism. If you make a video and like just use a screen grab from one of his videos, he will fight with YouTube till hell's no end to get your channel stricken for that. I mean, he will put an effort in it like God wouldn't believe, but yet he trash mouths people all the time on YouTube and calls it fair use, my free speech. You know, free speech for me, but not for thee. I can criticize you, but if you criticize me, I'm going to get your channel struck. You know, he's that petty. So him and this guy are friends, right? And so the other guy, him and his girl break up. And they've been broken up for quite a while, but they were together for 12 years. They were high school sweethearts. And they had broke up and got back together maybe a couple of times over the years. And then they finally, you know, they probably just got older and grew apart. And they had broken up, and there was no friction between them at all. They just split up. The Upchurch 2.0, the germ, he immediately pounces on this guy's girlfriend, hires her as his full-time camera person, which means she'll be traveling with him everywhere. The other guy that was his friend said, listen, I'm just not okay with this, man. I don't think you ought to do that. That's just something you shouldn't do. He didn't say nothing bad about the guy or anything. He just said, man, that's kind of crappy. You know, of all the people you could hire to hold a camera, it's a skillless job. You picked my ex-girlfriend that we were all friends together. And now when I come with you, or I'm with you and I'm a friend, or we're together, then, you know, that's just not going to work, dude. Why would you do that? Immediately starts attacking this dude. Okay. Now you guys are going to love this. So tell me how you feel about that in chat. Do you think that's a no-no? He shouldn't be, of all the people he could have hired, the last person he should have hired was his friend's ex-girl. It's just not I wouldn't do that to my friend. Period. Just wouldn't. If he told me, if let's say he asked me, hey, you care if I hire your ex? And I said, no, I wouldn't really be okay with it, dude. My friend would go, okay, no problem. I'll hire somebody else. That's the right thing to do, right? How can you dictate how someone else should feel? So he goes ahead and hires her despite knowing his buddy's got a problem with it. And when his buddy said, man, I can't believe you did that. Why would you do that? I thought we were friends. He makes a video saying we were never friends. I allowed you in my life from time to time, but we were never friends. What? Dude, you've been making videos with this guy and traveling with him for 5 years. Did you tell us he wasn't your friend? So, in retaliation, because this guy made a video saying he was very disappointed, these guys would do a live stream on YouTube periodically and auction off cool things they got from storage units. Okay, so you go to a storage unit auction, you buy some stuff at auction. In that storage unit is, say, a rare gold necklace medallion, for example. You then have an auction on your live stream and auction it off to one of your subscribers. That you're not allowed to do that. I guess that is, you have to have an actual auctioneer's license to do that. I didn't know that. But everyone's doing it. Every one of these guys that make storage unit videos do that. They all do it, including him. He did it more than anybody. He held an auction for his subscribers every Sunday night for almost 3 years. But he turns in his buddy for doing it. Turn him in. He secretly snuck off and got his auction license right away, because you got to take like a 2-week class, and then turned his buddy in for selling stuff at auction on his channel. That's how petty this son of a bitch is. So then his friend that he says was never his friend, although they were together a lot, 5 years, took trips together, spent time at each other's house like weeks at a time. He then turns him into the or threatens to turn him into the IRS and just crazy stuff, man. It's like, I've just never seen somebody so petty. So I've been watching that. I ain't been watching Crack Squad. This is some pretty good drama. So all that being said, every time something happens in Otter Creek, everybody acts like, this guy's got something to do with it or he's entitled to it. And there's a young man, his name, his YouTube channel. Let me pull his YouTube channel because I really want you guys to, just subscribe and say hi. He's a pretty cool kid. It's, and his channel is called, let me just share it real quick so you guys can see it. So his channel is called Living the Country Life with Thomas Collins. And he does a lot of videos around this little town. He's like picking up trash, like helping his neighbors. He's just trying to find his way in life. I didn't care for him at first. I thought he was grifting, but he's just trying to do his own thing, making videos. And there's all this drama with their little government there in this town with 100 people. It's got 100 people. And you would think that they were, the Atlanta, Georgia legislature. I mean, it's unreal, the drama. So some of the videos are interesting. Anyway, this guy, Thomas Collins, he did a video. He recorded a video of this dude that's a obvious meth head. He's smoked way too much meth. His brain's messed up. And he's like crazy. I mean, he's just bona fide crazy. Okay. He just goes off on people and just does crazy stuff. And he lives with his dad. His dad does his best to try to keep him in check. And I'm going to show you a little piece of Thomas's video, but I want you to go to his channel and watch the whole video. Please do that. Anyway, he gets into it with Thomas and his own brother. And he throws a rock at him, threw some paint at him, and they called the police on him. And the police come to arrest him. And he immediately just turns around and puts his hands behind his back like, you know, I've done this 100 times. You know, he's not fighting with them at all. He's still running his mouth, you know, calling, you know, these guys every name in the book. But he's not fighting with the police at all. He literally turns around, puts his hands behind his back, and wait till you see what the police did to him. And everybody's okay with it. It's like, goddamn, it's like watching Crack Squad. They just don't know right from wrong. I don't care what you've ever done. I don't care what you're being arrested for. I don't care why, how, when. Once them handcuffs are on you, the police have no business beating up on you. Period. Why? Why would I care? Why would I care if some dude threw rocks at his neighbor and broke out all his neighbor's windows and called his neighbor every name you could possibly call somebody, and the police come to arrest him, put cuffs on him, and beat him up? Why would I care about that? Why should I care about that? What do you think? What do you think the reason is? Well, the reason is, what if they break his ribs or that video gets in a lawyer's hands, you know, the video of them beating somebody up in hand, there's a lawsuit, and that lawsuit goes right on the taxpayers. And you take a county that's got a low population, you know, $1 million lawsuit's a lot of money out of the taxpayers' fund that could go towards a new playground or something, right? So you don't want corrupt police causing lawsuits for your county. That's why you wouldn't be okay with the police beating somebody up in handcuffs. And the police are supposed to represent law and order. They're not supposed to be a gang that come and beat people up for you. They're supposed to represent law and order. So let me show you this video, and you guys tell me what you think. Would you send this video in, make a stink out of it, make sure this kid gets a copy of it so he can sue? See, because that's another thing. This kid's a meth head and he's nuts, right? What's going to happen if this kid sues? Because I'm telling you, this video, he can sue. If he sues, he's got a bunch of money now. All you did was put a bunch of money in this kid's hand. So let me show you the video. Now, I've just cut the piece out where he's getting handcuffs. I want you guys to make no mistake. This kid was an absolute shithead. He did plenty to get arrested. He didn't like attack nobody, but he threw a rock, he threw some paint, and he said a lot of stuff and made a lot of threats. He deserved to be arrested. Make no mistake about that. What he didn't deserve was to be roughed up while he had handcuffs on. That's what he didn't deserve, especially when he just turned around and put his hands behind his back. So here we go. Cops have just arrived, and
I ain't doing a fucking thing, you fat ass bitch.
You're a liar.
Fuck you, dude. Fuck you, fucking you. Fuck you, dude. I don't give a fuck what you do.
I know you don't.
Yeah, because you're a bunch of bitch ass motherfuckers. That's what's up. You're a bunch of bitch. I ain't got a fucking hard shot for nothing.
watch this.
He needs help.
I ain't do shit.
What? 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 This is just part of it. Watch this. I want you guys to see that again. Now, the cops get there. I want you to watch what this kid does. Get my mug out of there.
You a fuck thing.
Yeah,
I
right.
ain't
He
no
put his
fucking
hands
thing,
right
you
behind his
fat
back.
ass bitch.
You're a liar.
Fuck you, dude. Fuck you, fucking you. Fuck you, dude. I don't give a fuck what you did.
I know you don't.
Yeah, because you're a bunch of bitch ass
Right.
motherfuckers. That's what's up. You're a bunch of bitch. I ain't got a fucking hush up for nothing. Don't fuck with me.
He needs help.
Boom. Trip. Knee. Knee to the rib.
Whatever.
Punch to the face.
I ain't doing it. You get it?
Choking him.
Get it? You get it? What are you hitting for?
Shut your mouth.
I can walk.
Shut your
You
mouth.
want to walk? This is what happens. Stand up. You walk like a man.
So, cops get there. He knows he's going to jail. He puts his hands behind his back, starts walking with the cops toward the car. Yeah, he's still running his mouth. Cop trips him to the ground. They both fall on him with their full weight, knee him in the ribs, punch his face, and start choking him. He's got handcuffs on behind his back.
Do that.
Boom!
What are you doing? What are you doing that for?
That's it. I mean, there's plenty more, but that's all I'm going to show. But these crackheads, oh, he deserved it. From the police while you're handcuffed? No, 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 no. That's not what the police are supposed to do. That could be your brother that gets arrested for a DUI that they cuff and beat up. That could be your sister that gets arrested for something stupid and they beat her up with handcuffs on. That could be your 70-year-old father. That kid did nothing for them cops to kick his feet out from under him, slam him to the ground, knee him in the ribs, punch him in the back of the neck, and then start choking him. And then snatch him up and body slam him into the cruiser because they didn't like the words coming out of his mouth. So I'm sorry, man. I can't believe I'm reading the comments and I'm thinking, did I land on the One Uppers channel? This sounds like Crack Squad in here. He deserved it. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't deserve it. I don't care what he did. You don't deserve to be handcuffed and beat up by the police. You're supposed to be treated with respect. You're supposed to be treated as an equal until you are found guilty. You're supposed to be handcuffed, treated with respect, put in the back of an air-conditioned cruiser, and transported to the jail like you're transporting your own mother. And if a police officer can't handle his ego enough to do that, he shouldn't even be on the force. And I'll tell you, Thomas, I like your channel. I like what you're doing, but you're wrong about this. Big time. I don't care what he did to you guys. You don't encourage, support the police brutality. You always report it. Always report it. If that kid sues, who's got to pay that lawsuit? You, me, your neighbors. That's who has to pay for it. When someone sues, the taxpayers of that county get punished. Nothing happens to the police officer. He's got qualified immunity. So he sues. Police officer puts cuffs on somebody, beats him up. He's got a union and a lawyer behind him that we pay for. The county gets sued. Surely they got to do a payout. And there goes money out of a poor county. that didn't need to happen. So, Thomas, if you care about the county you live in and you think that, you know, you would like to see more money spent on things in the county that may benefit you or your neighbors, maybe fix a road, maybe put in a new sidewalk, maybe a new playground, you know, maybe a new stop sign, maybe a traffic light on 19, something, then you report this shit. You don't support police brutality. That's all I'm going to say about that. What do you guys think? You guys think I'm out of my mind? I'll tell you, when I was 19 years old, me and a bunch of my friends, and listen, this isn't something I'm proud of. See, this is what Crack Squad doesn't understand about a guy like me. My integrity is bone deep. It's a guilt thing from being raised in a Catholic church and being raised on guilt. And I would defend my enemy. If the one-upper and Wade Deaver were done wrong and were being wrongfully persecuted, and I knew that they were being wrongfully persecuted, I would have to speak up in their defense. That's just who I am. I couldn't knowingly watch someone be wrongfully persecuted. I couldn't do it. That's the kind of shit that would make me set up at 3 o'clock in the morning and not be able to sleep. And it blows my mind. So when I'm 19 years old, this isn't anything I'm proud of. I'm not proud of this. Me and my friends used to go bar fighting. This is something we did. We were country boys. And, you know, we'd get done baling hay and feel like badasses, and we'd go to the bar and knock some heads. It's just something we did. We never ganged up on nobody, but if somebody wanted to fight, we'd fight them. And we did that. We got in a fight. It was a small scuffle. The police came. We got arrested. And one of my friends was mouthing off to the cops. And they had a van that had 2 cells in it. It had a front cell and a back cell. And they threw us in the back cell, and they took him around and threw him in the side cell, and we could hear them just beating the crap out of him. So we all wake up the next morning in the jail, and he comes walking out of the cell, and his face is so swollen you can't see his eyes. I mean, his face was out to here, and it was all black and blue. He had broken ribs and 2 fingers broken on one of his hands. And he sued. And you ought to see the house he's living in from that lawsuit. He was 23 years old when the court case was over, and I think he won like $4 million. They gave him a shit ton of money that the city had to pay out over so many years because it gave him partial brain damage. It cracked his skull bone. They beat him so bad while he had handcuffs on. So anyway, yeah, there you go. It would be. It'd be a major news story. Yeah, it's too much. I mean, the cops aren't supposed to do that, man. Come on. You guys can't support that. I don't give a shit what the guy did. The cops are supposed to represent the taxpayers and represent the court's law and order. Cops aren't supposed to enforce feelings. They're not supposed to enforce attitudes. They're supposed to enforce laws. Laws. They are a steward of the law, not a gang that comes and beats up people you got a problem with. So if you're any kind of man, Thomas, you'll take that video to the news in the morning. And if you don't, I will. But I'll give you the chance to do it first. Just saying, dude. You can't condone that shit. No. Don't do that. That's not the right thing to do ever. So, the Trump assassination attempt. Wow. I don't know how many of you guys have actually read the Bible. And I don't know how many of you have had the book of Revelations talks about a mark of the beast vision that John got when he finally repented. John was a Christian assassin. He went around chopping Christians' heads off. And he got a vision when he repented. And the vision was the end of humanity and Judgment Day and the things that would take place for that to happen. And it's been interpreted many ways in the New Testament. But it's always been interpreted accurately, in my opinion, in the Old Testament. And you have to understand it was a vision. It was a dream. It was like he was on this like DMT trip and he saw all these things unfold. Okay. Only he had to use the verbiage available to him 2,000 years ago. How do you describe a helicopter if you don't know what a helicopter is and you've never seen one before and you've never seen anything fly or anything with an engine? How would you describe that? Okay. So he's seeing into the future and seeing this vision of the end of humanity on earth, where we leave our material body and move into the spirit realm for eternity. And we join a force for good. So in that book of Revelations are several things that happened that seemed far-fetched. And I want to explain some of those things to you because I think it's important. Some of you have probably never heard this, but what I'm about to tell you is extremely accurate. I've listened to interpretation from Bible scholars that have 8 years of study under their belt with some of the highest, most knowledgeable biblical scholars there are. Okay. And in this vision, there's the mark of the beast. You've all heard that, I'm sure. And you're probably thinking the exact same thing people thought for thousands of years. They're going to draw a number on you, right? And you'll be controlled by this number. That's not true. That's not what it says. He's trying to describe it, but he doesn't have the verbiage to describe digital banking currency. He doesn't have the verbiage to describe internet, social media, large corporations that can have control over you and track your every move, that they can control where you get your money, how you spend your money, what you spend your money on, and take your money away and punish you and stop your but just total control from this mark of the beast, this number, this digit. And that is the word that was used, digit. And so those things didn't exist, didn't exist, I mean, go back in the 1800s, 1900s, 1960, 1950, 1940, 1970, 1980. The mark of the beast, a centralized power that could control how you spend your money, what you spend your money on, where you're allowed to go, where you're allowed to shop, what you're allowed to buy, what you're not allowed to buy. That seemed like some far away, impossible thing in 1960, 1970, and 1980, and I'll even say 1990. But it's not so far-fetched now, is it? It's not so far-fetched now, is it? The book of Revelations, Mark of the Beast vision, speaks very fluently about centralized power, centralized banking that controls how you get your money, how you spend your money, what you can spend your money on. And those things are happening right now, today. The people that were in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, you know how they were all busted, right? How'd they all get busted? Who knows? Put it in the chat. How'd they all get caught? How did they all end up getting arrested? Credit card, cell phone. Credit card, cell phone. If you used a credit card in Washington, D.C., on January 6th, your bank turned you in. If your cell phone was pinging off a tower in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, your cell company turned your ass in. It even goes on to say that this centralized power, well, sure, they used pictures and phones and things too, sure. But the primary amount of people, how they found out who was in Washington that day was credit card usage, cell phone usage. You stop at Kohl's tomorrow and see you don't get a text asking you to do a survey on your experience there. You talk about going to Kings Island tomorrow and see you don't start getting ads for Kings Island. These things are happening now, and they are talked about at great length in that book of Revelation, Mark of the Beast vision. And it's a centralized power that will track you control you through controlling your money, controlling what you buy, controlling what you can eat. Okay. Amazon has put so many places out of business, brick and mortar stores, that there is now only one place to get said item, and that is Amazon. You know, your favorite shoe store that closed at the mall, the only place those shoes are sold now are on Amazon. So they do control where you can buy. In China, they're even using a social credit score. And if your if your social credit score is too low, there's restaurants you can't eat at. There's malls you can't go in. There's highways you can't even drive on because it won't even let you pass the toll booth. You say something stupid on Facebook like, I wish they wouldn't have missed. You're losing your job. Your bank will close your bank account. There's control through centralized power. Look what happened to Parler. Look how the 2020 election was forced upon you by way of punishing the people that said it wasn't legit. We all know it wasn't legit. 80-some thousand people didn't, or 80-some million people didn't vote for Joe Biden. We know that. Everybody knows that. He didn't even campaign. He's held up in his basement. And when we all went to bed on a normal election day, Trump was winning by a landslide. 3 days later, he's lost in every swing state by extremely abnormal votes. And if you spoke about that, you went to jail. They tried to put Rudy Giuliani in jail. Everybody in Trump's cabinet in jail. Centralized powers using corporations to control you. That is I just want you guys to understand that is in the book of Revelations, and it is happening right now. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean 30, 40 years from now? Does it mean tomorrow? I don't know. Nobody does. But I'm telling you, never before in my lifetime have I seen so many pieces that are talked about in that vision now in front of me. Things that I would have never thought were possible. When I was a little kid, I used to think, how are they going to put a tattoo on everybody? Everyone thought that was the mark of the beast. And then, they would check your arm when you went to the store. And if you had the mark, you couldn't buy something. I literally thought that that's what that interpretation meant. Well, then when I finally got it interpreted to me the right way, no, it was through what we see today. And there's more. Oh, there's more. The United States of America is mentioned in Revelations. How did a guy on an island, on a Greek island, 2,000 years ago, tell of a dream about a centralized power, numbers that would control everybody, control banking, control where you shop, control what you buy, control where you can be, control whether you can travel? How many people are on a no-fly list? Okay, so how did a guy on an island over 2,000 years ago have that vision? You think that was just some big accident, huh? And that somebody wrote that in a book that billions of people base their life on, and it's all a big accident and a bunch of shit? Well, I'm sorry for you. But I knew I had a soul the day when I was a toddler. I've known my soul since I was a little child, and I know that there's a soul inside my body that has nothing to do with the meat and flesh and blood in me, that there is a soul. I talk to it all the time. So he goes on to say in this vision that spirit angels would begin to make themselves known to humans. Humans is a species of beings talked about in Revelations. And I say humans are one of the species of beings talked about in the book of Revelation. There are more beings besides humans. And it goes on to say that spirit angels would make themselves known to humans for the first time. And they would appear in ways that test the human imagination. I'm going to repeat that to you again so it sinks in. It directly says a man on an island 2,000 years ago saw a vision of the end of humanity, and spirit angels would begin to materialize in front of humans for the first time ever in ways that would test the imagination. Okay. So what do you think of these Tic Tacs that are entirely too small to have a power source or a fuel source or a pilot? And they can set above the water and jitter like this and bob down in the water and come back up. Now there's two of them, and then they can go beep, 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 and go Mach 50 and then stop and then jitter again and then just set in the cloud for a minute and then dive down in the water. What do you think of those things? You think there's somebody flying those? Or do you think those are spirits? Do you think they're spiritual? I think they're spiritual. A chrome orb, barely the size of a Volkswagen. No windows, no doors, and it's just ripping through the air faster than anything you've ever seen and can stop on a dime. Can go just as fast underwater as it can in the sky, as if H2O in the air is the same. That is spiritual. A cigar-shaped thing that can sit in clouds and just sit there and not move and then just take off at Mach 50 and do all kind of crazy stuff. You think there's like little people in there steering it with no windows, no power source, no propulsion system, no way to steer it, no way to guide it, no wings, no. Your imagination is being tested. Those are spirits. And I just want you guys to know that. I think some of you need to know it. I know it. Just that simple. I know that. So I'll get to some of your comments. There's more, but I don't want to sound like I'm preaching to you guys. If you want me to talk about it more some other time, I will. I know a lot about it. And those are not UFOs. Those are spirits making themselves known to humanity. And if you don't think that turning your head just an inch to look at a chart moved you over just enough in front of the world was not a design, I don't know, I just feel sorry for you. That's all. I feel sorry for you. I'm sorry that you're that small-minded. I'm sorry that you think that you don't belong to something much greater than yourself. I'm sorry that you think humanity is a biological mishap that's just all a big coincidence and that it's not connected to something much greater. I'm sorry for you. That's all. I'm just sorry for you. It's sad. I could not imagine going through life not knowing I have a soul and not knowing that I belong to something much, much bigger than myself. And that there's a design to all this. Ridiculous science, ridiculous scientists with their wild assumptions of what may have happened 2 billion years ago, talking about it like it's fact, is absurd. Absurd. It is absurd to think a bunch of hunter-gatherers with rocks and sticks cut granite stone so accurate down to 1,000th of an inch and then polished it to a mirror finish and lifted it 4 stories in the air. They can't even simulate a blade of grass. The best scientist in the world can't duplicate a simple blade of grass. And if you think everything on this planet that sustains life is all some big fucking accident, I feel sorry for you. If you can't see the string that binds all that together, I feel sorry for you. And if you think there are little people flying these orbs and these cigar-shaped things and these turtle shell-looking things and these frickin' tic-tac-looking things, I don't know what to tell you. They're not from outer space. They're from the other side. They're from the other side. You can believe what you want. I know better. There is those cops. Yeah, I agree. Jack. Yeah, that's probably a regular practice of those two cowards. They probably rough people up all the time. Let me move up a little bit, man, because I'm really interested in what you guys think. Now, I want to clear something else up real quick before I get to these comments. I keep getting these stupid comments about, you support Johnny Gobble. When you can tell me what Johnny Goble from Paintsville, Kentucky did to you, you let me know. You guys have all attacked him because up, church. Shut up. Shut up. Don't want to hear it. I don't have to support everything someone does to stand up when they're being bullied. I don't even have to like them to say, you're bullying that guy and it's bullshit. You can kick rocks with that nonsense, you bunch of little sissy cowards. All of you. Bunch of little cowardly little sissies. You wouldn't like any of that stuff being done to you. And if it was being done to you, you would appreciate somebody speaking up. So just shut up. Look at what a cry baby the gotcha man and the one-upper are when something's done to them. Imagine if everything that's been done to Dagburn was done to the gotcha man, he would have probably deleted himself by now. Crying because he drove down a public street. That's pretty mild compared to the shit you guys have dished out on him. I don't want to hear it. I'll stand up for anybody being bullied by a bunch of filth. Anytime, any place, anywhere. I got to tell you guys something that's funny. Wait a minute. I got to show you one more thing. Hold on. I meant to tell you guys this a while ago. I laughed so hard I almost died. I got to show you this. Oh, I got to show you this. It is so freaking funny. Okay. I got to get this big enough so you guys can see it. Okay. All right. Now let me go to hell. And all right. Now let me, I want to show you this. Okay. So I started a Rumble channel a long time ago, but I've never used it. Okay. I just created one. Never used it. I thought there's Crack Squad I've never had a strike from YouTube for anything, ever. Some people tried and YouTube sided with me, and that was the end of it. Well, a bunch of them tried to do this like mass reporting on like 6 of my videos one time here a long time ago. It's been a while ago. And of course, YouTube saw all the games and said, you know, no problem. I've never had a strike. I've never had to take a video down. Nothing. But I went ahead and made a Rumble channel, and you can, when you do a Rumble channel, you can actually have it mirror your YouTube channel if you want. And I think I did select that feature on one. I made 3 channels on Rumble. But like I said, I never used them. I didn't know where that was going to go. So without more of that, let me show you this. You guys are going to get a kick out of this. Okay. So there's the 3 channels I made on Rumble. Okay. As you can see, there's no content. There's no videos, right? Look over in the notifications. What's it say? My ex-wife from 25 years ago. Still obsessed and still stalking me. That's what happens when you got a big stick. I mean, you can't get rid of these women. They will not leave you alone ever. And then Wade Deaver. Come on, you guys, that's funny. You got to admit. Come on, that is funny. Says, damn Yankee followed me. I can guarantee you that's Crack Squad right there. I can guarantee you that's Crack Squad right there. And it went too far down, but Wade Deaver was on there the other day. This other guy, when he joined, it bumped Wade down. Wade was the first one to follow me. Ex-wife second. He must have told her, he's got a Rumble. Let's go get it. I want to tell you something. I don't ever think of her. I've never felt the need to check up on her. I wish she would have found somebody, got married, and had a happy life, but she won't put the brown bottle down, so that's never going to happen. So the only thing she's got to cling on to is me. And it's just sad. It's sad. I feel sorry for her. Imagine, yeah, that's crazy. Harassed. Holy cow. Driving down a public street's harassment? Really? Driving down a public street is harassment. What do you call the stuff you do to him for the last 2 years? What would you call that? You know, it's just like the one-upper. You know, I know, the judge knows, everybody knows, had he told the truth, there would have never been any charges. Right? And that's why they're going to go nowhere. These guys are all excited that there's going to be this big revelation Friday, and it's going to be nothing. It's going to be poof, tossed in the trash. You can't stalk somebody for 2 years, harass the ever-living shit out of them, and then they finally do something back to you, and you run to the police, and you leave that part out. Doesn't work, doesn't fly. So I hope you guys don't stay up all night waiting for something that ain't going to happen, because it ain't going to happen. You can't lie and get justice. You can only get justice when you're honest. I was honest. I'll get justice. Watch and see. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I did everything right. Somebody else didn't. Somebody else felt the need to hide stuff. So, we'll get to your comments. Look at this crack squattian right here. He probably apologizes to his mom 3 days a week for not picking anything up like she asked. And I'll bet you if he was in a jail cell, he'd cry like real tears all night long and want everybody to feel sorry for him. Look, do you know how low IQ you got to be to say something like that? You got to be just like extremely low IQ. Isn't that right? One upper. Isn't that so? Got to be really stupid to say something like that. Like your brain's got to be like super tiny to not know. That's just something you don't support because it could happen to you. It could happen to your mom, your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your wife, your kid. Could make your taxes go up. Could make your property value go down. You don't support something that has a negative effect on your life. Low IQ. You can say anything you want to the police. That's freedom of speech. That's right. Their job isn't to, the police are not there to apply any kind of justice or punishment. That's not their job. Not their job. And he wasn't saying anything to the cops. He was still running his mouth to Thomas. Thomas didn't do anything. You know, I mean, I'm not saying Thomas did anything wrong. You know, the dude shouldn't have done what he done. He deserved to be arrested. But nobody deserves to be beat up with their handcuffs behind their back. That's what a coward would do. That's why somebody like this turd, typical crack squattian. This is the IQ level of the Upchurch fan base right here. That's the kind of person that doesn't understand why something like that should be wrong. This is the kind of person that doesn't understand that your enemy's rights should matter to you just as much as your friend's rights. Because if they take your enemy's rights away, they can take your rights away, you simpleton. If they can beat him up in handcuffs, they can beat you up in handcuffs. And we know you would cry. We know you'd be on the phone with mommy. Mommy, can you bail me out? Oh, yeah. One day without commissary and you'd be done. I hope he does. I think he will. I mean, the guys that, okay, I don't think 4 or 5 years is fair punishment for vandalism. But they should have done some time if they broke anything, broke windows, kicked in doors, stole anything from inside there, damaged anything. Those people deserve to be punished, whatever that punishment would be, fairly. But the people that just walked up the steps and looked in because the cops were waving them on, no. None of those people should be in jail. Oh, my God. Wow. Mm-mm-mm. No, I know. And they never will. the Gotcha Man's channel, yeah, I'm talking about you, you fucking little twerp. The Gotcha Man's channel would just go away. If I left YouTube and Dagburn left YouTube, he wouldn't have a channel anymore. You know what the funniest thing about him is? All that running his mouth he did about Johnny e-begging, and that son of a bitch. Do you know how much? I just got to say this. It needs to be said. You know how much it cost to cremate somebody and buy a urn? Because I had to do it. I know exactly how much it is. It's less. It costs less. And this is important. I want you to hear me. It costs less than a season's worth of chemicals for a swimming pool. Mister, look at me. I'm doing so good. I got an office, a truck, a swimming pool. But can you send me money for a urn for my daddy that I hated? Please. I'll put my Cash App in every video just so you guys, if you feel sorry for me, you can send me some money. I'm a typical millennial begging. I have no shame. We just don't have any shame. We can walk up to a total stranger and ask them for money. Doesn't bother us a bit. Biggest, whiniest fucking puss out of all of Crack Squad, maybe next to One Upper. He's the biggest whiny puss that can't handle any of what he dishes out. Maybe me and Dagburn will just go on a campaign of just making videos about him every single fucking day in and day out for an entire year. Oh, I know that. Yeah. Yeah, I saw him. I saw it. Yeah, I saw Demolition. I felt bad for him because what a ridiculous thing. Okay. He had Nike tennis shoes on too. Is Nike apologizing? He had a belt from Sears. Is Sears apologizing? He probably had underwear from frickin' Walmart. Are they apologizing? But since he bought a shirt on the internet, that guy's somehow responsible or something? That's just dumb. If I was, I just feel bad for him. He shouldn't even have to apologize. That's nonsense. He's a good guy, Matt Carricker. He's a really good dude, man. Does a lot of charity, does a lot of stuff for people. It ain't his fault that guy bought a shirt. It's dumb. But that's Democrats. And who acts more like Democrats than anybody you've ever seen? Crack Squad. You guys know that, right? You guys act exactly like Democrats. You grossly exaggerate. You use guilt by association. You take people's words out of context. You act exactly like Democrats do. So when you see a Democrat, Crack Squad, when you see a Democrat and you think, oh God, what a terrible person, that's what people think of you. Because you do the same thing. Democrats burn down a whole city, loot 3 department stores, put every store in a black neighborhood out of business, wipe out the drugstore, and now the elderly black people of that community have to get on a bus and ride clear across town to get their prescription. But if some Republicans kick in a window at the State House, it's holy hell. You guys are the same way. Gotcha Man makes videos about Dagburn for 2 years, goes to his hometown, torments him, calls his places of work, calls where he bought his car, tries to send a tow truck after his car, changed his avatar to his mom's picture when his mom died, said all kind of shit about his dad, tormented him about his child abuse, on and 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 on. And Dagburn makes a video driving down the street his dad lives on. He's been crying about it for 2 fucking months. Like a big ass, whiny ass baby. And then he had to e-beg What a twerp. I would feel about this tall, about this fucking tall, if I had to go on the internet and beg to buy a urine for one of my parents. Just a God. Oh, God, that's just gross. You're supposed to make that sacrifice, you stupid little twerp. You're not supposed to have someone pay that for you. That's one of the burdens you're supposed to carry in life because your goddamn parents made sacrifices for you, you shithead. Stop whining. Be a man. Grow up. Quit being a sissy. Dagburn ain't done shit to you in comparison. It's like Crack Squad. You made a fake sex offender registry. Well, you know what? You made goddamn videos saying I was pedo about 6 fucking times. You made a petition saying I should be removed from YouTube because kids weren't safe around me. I mean, I don't need to go on and on. Everybody saw it. I put up with it for almost a fucking year before I finally said something back. I don't want to hear your crying ass whining, and neither does the court. All a bunch of little sissy bitches. I'm sorry I get on this negative rant, but man, these people are insufferable. That gotcha man is the biggest goddamn sissy I've ever seen. And I mean a sissy. He ought to be embarrassed. Begging for money for a damn urine for his dad from strangers on the goddamn internet. When it don't cost as much as a fucking bag of chemical for the fucking swimming pool. That is shameful shit right there. I mean, that is as bad as it gets. I went and borrowed money against my house to bury my mother. Had to transport her body, all that stuff. I didn't open my mouth. I didn't say nothing to nobody. I just did it because I'm a fucking man. Guess you'll never know how that feels. My mother had life insurance that my sister stole and spent it all on herself. And was going to let the state just claim her body. Mr. Dagger, my daddy's treated I hate and I need money for a year and a half. Them charges you almost got, fucking karma. And there's more coming. Ain't over yet. Not by a long shot. There's going to be some justice handed down to you twerps. It is happening now. Pitbull, it is happening now. And I feel sorry for the people that don't understand it. It is happening now. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean tomorrow? No, I don't know. But I can tell you the pieces are there that were never there before. And, you know, tell me we ain't headed towards e-currency, centralized bank. Look how fast online, digital purchasing, tracking, cell phones, all that came about. 5 years? Where it went from just being sort of a thing some people were into to the entire world? 5 years? 6? Look how fast Bitcoin took on. There's a lot of people with Bitcoin. They're pushing towards centralized banking in 3 different countries right now where there'll be no actual currency anymore. Everyone just uses a credit card. They won't even have dollar bills. It's happening now. It's happening right now. Right now today. We're seeing spirits for the first time. Up church, your cult leader just saw one. You think somebody was flying that and there was a little green guy in there from another planet and his planet created life by accident the same way our planet created life by accident? Is that what you believe? If you do, I feel sorry for you. That's all. You're not real smart. You got a small brain. Not my fault. Don't blame me. Could you imagine being that pathetic? Imagine the effort you put in. Create a sock account, get on there. I'll go through all this fucking trouble just to make a stupid comment like that. Yeah. Imagine your life being so bad that you watch all of Crack Squad's live streams and you send the gotcha man money. Imagine your life being that shitty. What are you doing begging? Don't seem to me like you ain't got nothing on Johnny Go. Not one thing. He's actually a little better than you are. He begs for things he needs. You just beg because you don't want to spend the money yourself. I mean, I could buy a urn with some chump change I got laying in this drawer right here. That's the truth. Why'd you have to beg for it from strangers on the internet? Are you that in debt that you can't muster up a couple $100? Your credit's so tight you can't go get a loan? What's going on, dude? Bite off more than you could chew? You aren't a 1%er, gotcha twerp. And you know what that means for you? You will be divorced and paying child support inside of 8 years. Mark your calendar. Remember me telling you that. There's no fucking way you are the caliber of human that can have a long-lasting marriage through retirement. It will not happen. You will be divorced. You will owe child support. You will have to give half of everything you own to her. It will happen to you the same way it happens to 80% of marriages in this country. Remember me telling you that. Give me money. I need money. We drove down the street. My daddy lives on. No, they can't. None of them come up with anything original. They don't have the depth to have a conversation about something that people would be interested in listening to. They don't have the depth. What the hell would somebody like that dumb twerp ever talk about that would interest somebody? When he's not bragging, he's ragging on Dagburn. That's all he does. One of the two. Yeah, that's right. Man, that Seeper's such a little twerp too. What a little twerp. You can take one look at him, just one look at him and know he has never held $1,000 that belonged to him. Ever. You just tell by the way he looks. Mr. 3 nightclubs, $30,000 profit a night. Jesus Christ. Talking about beating people up. And he's just some little bony, skinny, little bald-headed twerp. Can't even get a girlfriend. That's another thing. I couldn't imagine being bald at 30. Dude, look, I'm in my fucking 60s. I ain't bald yet. No wonder you had to settle for a fat girl. I kind of feel sorry for you, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Man. You know. Now, Dagbird, he'll be married to her till he dies. You won't. He will. He's not trying to prove something every day like you are. You're all ego and I got to prove something to my neighbor. And, you know, you're like a prerequisite. I'm tongue tied a bit to the one upper. Well, maybe you blew 40 windshields, but I'm a world champion base racer. Me. 2 times in a strip mall in Cincinnati. There were 3 people there, I'll have you know. Well, best in the world. There was nobody in Japan that had anything on me. They wouldn't even show up at that strip mall. My distorted bass was louder than anybody's distorted bass. So loud you couldn't listen to it. Imagine that. You know how much it cost me to make this bass too loud to listen to, buddy? You have any idea how much money I got in this? Do you? Hell yeah. I'm a big spender. A guy that will never understand. See, a work truck. I'll never forget that pleb talking about, I had some guy's S10 here for like 3 months waiting on an engine because of COVID. It was on back order. And he started thinking that was mine. And he was like making a big issue out of it being a work truck. Like it had, you know, just, it was plain Jane. It had no trim, no power windows, you know, so what we call a heater and keys. Somebody like him, he has no understanding of why someone would buy a work truck. It makes no sense to someone like him because everything he buys is to prove something. So why would you ever buy a truck that's just plain Jane and has no trim and has no power windows and no alloy wheels and no V8 engine and no leather seats? The ones that have leather seat and alloy, they're better. They cost more. So you're obviously a better, like more higher up, like you are better accomplished if you have that than some dude that buys a plain Jane work truck. See, he doesn't have the concept to know that that person's going to use that truck to work with and they're going to tear the shit out of it. So that they're going to spend as least as possible. That concept, spending as least as possible, is to a one-upper, that's like foreign language. They'll never understand that because every move he makes in life is to prove something to a neighbor, to a coworker, to a friend, whatever. He's that guy. He's got it's a prove thing. It's a, you know, him, if you drive a plain Jane work truck, you just ain't made it in life, buddy. You see this truck I got over here? That son of a bitch costs $116,000. The payment's $1,200 a month. Look at it. You got that little plain thing over there, ain't even got power windows. I bet you only paid about $8,000 for that. That's the level. That's the mindset. My dad, I'll never forget, went to Reichert Ford Van Land. Maybe some of you remember seeing the commercials. But Reichert Ford was a place in Canal Winchester, Ohio, and it became the world's largest Ford dealership. It was the first auto mall ever. It was the absolute first one in the whole world. And they had a dealership called Van Land. And they sold conversion vans. And there was this huge explosion in conversion vans in the 80s. Everybody wanted a conversion van. It was the cool thing to have. Okay. And there were these, they were making these things really awesome. I mean, they'd have, all the seats would be leather. They'd have TVs in them, VCRs, just crazy. And my dad wanted a conversion van. He wanted one. Him and my mom were planning on going on some trips, like travel out west and everything. And they wanted something really comfortable to drive in, something they could maybe even spend the night in if they felt like it. And my dad always paid cash. All his life, he learned that from his dad. He never had a banking. My father never had a bank account, ever. Never had a checkbook. He put all his money in his hiding spot. And when he wanted something, he went and got it and he paid cash for it. He built our house that we grew up in himself, hand dug the foundation, drove every nail, built the entire thing out of pocket. So he goes up to van land to go get a van. And he wore duck boots and overalls. There where you saw him at, he had duck boots and overalls on. And he had that money for that van tucked right in the front pocket of them overalls. And them guys are saying, well, we got to see if we can get you. He wanted to test drive one. And the guys tell him, we got to see, check on your financing options. And my dad said, well, who's saying anything about financing? I just want to see if that's one I want. And so that salesman learned a valuable lesson because he said, I want to talk to someone else. And he got a different salesman and he bought one and he paid cash for it. That guy learned a valuable lesson that day. Don't judge a book by its cover. See, that's a concept the one-upper could never conceive. You'd have to have all brand new clothes on, expensive designer shoes. You couldn't just wear overalls. That would mean you're like nobody. Right. They can't. Right. And I don't care how many lies they tell. Ryan Upchurch forgave him, said, yep, I messed with, I fuck with Dagburn. His exact words. Video still on Ryan's channel. I have a copy of it. It's there. That is when he became friends with Patty. When they all forgave him. Patty and Ryan had a falling out, and suddenly Upchurch hated Dagburn again. That is the truth. And Crack Squad hates on Dagburn because Ryan did. The minute Ryan said he liked Dagburn, Burkhart, Power Stroke, all of them, oh, yeah, he's all right, man. He's cool. Yeah, all of them. I got the video. That's how shallow they are. They hated the Gotcha Man. So he made a video about me and Dagburn. Then he was their buddy. That's how shallow they are. There's just no depth to these people. None. They're just hollow shells. Couldn't a single one of them tell you Dagburn did something to them. Not one of them. They'd try to grossly exaggerate something they claim he did to someone else, like they're allowed to adopt someone else's feelings. I think that's retarded too. You can't adopt someone else's outrage. That's just childish. No one cares one bit. I want you to hear me, Crack Squad, because I'm tired of hearing it. There is not a human on planet Earth that gives a rat's ass that Dagburn got fed up and started trolling the Gotcha Man back and drove down the street his dad lives on. No one cares. Not one person. No one cares. You guys can grossly exaggerate it all you want. You guys can whine about it all you want. You guys can use it for an excuse all you want. And the truth is, not one person cares. He should have stopped, got out, went up, knocked on the door, found out who his landlord was, and tried to get him evicted. That's what he should have done. Then he would be starting on a way of maybe starting to get even. And it blows my mind the son of a bitch sat there in a video talking about how much he hated his dad, how worthless his dad was, all this shit. And then he acts like he's devastated because Dagburn drove down the street. I mean, he's just a baby. He's just a big whiny. I bet his wife, oh God, imagine her day. Having to pet his ego all day and his whining. I'll bet it's just an absolute full-time job for her to cater to his fucking feelings. I had today, I ran into a real life guy like that today. Get this. We go to Harbor Freight. And I hadn't been there in a long, long time. I haven't set foot in a Harbor Freight in probably, I'll bet going on 2 years. And I was just like blown away at all the new stuff they got. They got some really cool new stuff and some good quality stuff. And I'm going up and down each aisle, just taking it in. I do like a mental picture. So then if I need something, I'll remember, oh, Harbor Freight's got that. And I'm just going up and down each aisle real slow. Me and my wife and the 2 boys. We're going up and down, up and down. Now I start to go down this aisle, and here's this dude, this skinny dude with tattoos all up and down his arm, like really shitty ones, and a service dog. And he's looking down at a can of paint, and the dog has backed up, and now the leash is stretched clear across the aisleway, and you can't go down the aisleway. And we stopped, and we waited and waited. Now there's another person that wants to go down that aisle. So now there's like 4 of us standing there. Finally, the dog moves, walks back over. He doesn't ever acknowledge us, but the dog said, oh, I'll get the fuck out of the way. And the dog moved. And a few of us start heading down the aisle. I get like, I come around behind him and I stop and I'm looking, and I was wanting to check out these hog ring pliers. And he was still bent over forward, looking at a can of primer. How long do you got to look at a can of primer? I don't know. How long do you need to block a whole aisleway in a store? I don't know, but he's doing it. So I wait, and I wait, and I wait. And he finally raises up and steps back, and he's looking at the can of primer from across the aisle. And I reach over in front of him and pick the hog ring pliers off the hook. And he says, talk about rude. It's going to be like that, huh? And I got a feeling, typical millennial, right? World owes me something. Everybody's got to feel sorry for me because I got my service dog, which I bet if you found out, it's just a dog. It's not a service dog. He uses it for a pity party. He's probably exactly like dude. They would probably be like brothers. And I tore into him. I embarrassed the shit out of him. I said, let me tell you something, buddy. You're not entitled to anything. And you want to talk about rude? Rude is when you're sitting there blocking a whole goddamn aisleway for 3 or 4 minutes while you can see 5 or 6 people waiting. That's rude. I did say, excuse me. I mean, me picking them pliers off that goddamn shelf didn't affect him one bit. And he thought I was just going to like bow down to him or something. He didn't say another word. He's like, what a jerk, man. I couldn't imagine being like that. I would never be one of them people that block an aisleway. I'm always conscious of that kind of thing. If there's 4 or 5 people behind me and I'm going to be taking my time, I step aside. I'm not going to hold 4 or 5 people up. Oh, I know. He's addicted to it now, isn't he? All they had to do was send him a couple bucks once when he gave him the big pity party about his dad that he hated. And I mean, and this ain't my words. Those are his words. He said that. I didn't. He said that. And some people send him money. Well, now, buddy, he's got to make sure that Cash App's up there on the screen every video. Yet while he's calling Johnny an e-beggar, he'll sit in a live stream all night long with a filthy piece of scum slime like Wade Deaver, who's been sucking off the government dole for as long as we can know. But he's got to be on Dagburn's ass because Dagburn ain't got a job. Like, it's his responsibility. There are 38 million people on fucking HUD assistance in this country. You're going to wear yourself out caring about it. None of your fucking business. That's what. It's just none of your business. So I'll tell you what, gotcha twerp. You leave Dagburn alone, start doing some other things on your channel, or maybe him and I will just team up and we'll just do videos about you every single fucking day. And we'll find out where you work and we'll follow you to work and we'll go by your house and we'll call stores in your area and we'll go in places you go and we'll just fuck with you for a while. Would you like that? Mark my word. It needs to stop. The off YouTube shit. If you can't make a response video and keep it at that, you're just a turd that deserves zero fucking respect. So just keep it up. Maybe I'll just help him troll you back like a son of a bitch. I mean, like worse than you've ever seen. See, that's what you guys don't understand. You mistake my patience for weakness. But if I decided I wanted to fuck with you, little boy, I could clean your clock on digitally. Big time. Big time. I forgot more about that kind of shit than a person ought to know. You mean you don't think Dagburn could do that to you? Call, find out where you go to like get gas and shit. You don't think we could find that out and then call them and say we're you and say a bunch of derogatory shit? You don't think we could do that to you? You don't think we could call people you associate with, people you work? You don't think any of that stuff can be done to you? Sure can. Maybe that's what it'll take. I don't know. Since you think it's funny, since you think there's just that you're just entitled to just mess with some guy's life because you think he's too weak to fight you back. Well, some of us are tired of seeing it. And Ryan Upchurch don't scare me. Rusty, faggot, sissy boy, underwear sniffing truck don't scare me. His sissy little whiny baby boy don't scare me, and you don't scare me. You don't intimidate me even the slightest bit. There ain't a fucking thing you can say about me that ain't already been said. So maybe it's just time to start handing it back to you. Maybe you get to learn what it's like. I don't know. You tell me what's fair. What's fair? What do you think's fair? It being done to you, or you just knocking it off? Which one you think's more fair? It being done to you back, relentless. I mean, fucking relentless, like nonstop, all the time, relentless. Or you just knocking it the fuck off, try to make a channel about something else. Yeah, bills and working so hard. Yeah, that rent's high. That's right. There you go. Mr. Know-It-All says, gotcha, man. I work too. I work hard. Hell, he might even have a goddamn swimming pool. He don't cause a bunch of fake drama for clout. He doesn't feel the need to do that. Why do you feel the need to do that? Well, because that's the only kind of friends you can get, is these fake crack squad friends that would stab you in the back faster than you can say don't do that. You know, it's all for attention for you. It's got no depth. It has no meaning because that's who you are as a human. Bullies are pieces of shit. Nobody likes bullies. Courts don't like bullies. Police don't like bullies. Lawyers don't like bullies. Nobody likes a bully. And you are a coward bully. Because you do shit that you don't have to be confronted over. Because you're a coward. Because you're a sissy. Tormenting somebody over being abused as a child. What a piece of shit. I mean, you are fucking just a turd, dude. An actual turd. I guess this needs to be addressed. How many videos will it be? I don't know. I don't care. Just don't care. Yeah, that's another one. Perfect point, Max Fisher. Gotcha, man. Justifying being a bully and a twerp and an e-beggar because he can't afford his lifestyle. I want that to be clear. The only reason why you would beg for money from strangers is because you can't afford the life you're living. Get a better job. You know, make your wife cut back on the diet stuff. None of it's ever going to work. She's got to quit eating. You just got to quit eating and start moving, and you'll lose weight. None of that diet shit works. Maybe cut back on that a little bit. Anyway, you trashed mouth Ryan Upchurch way worse than Johnny Gobble did. Johnny, at least the things that Johnny said were true. You said a lot of things that weren't true. So, good point, Max Fisher. Good looking out. Yeah. Ain't that the truth? You know, imagine the shit you do for attention. And see, now there's no going back. You know, he shot a hole in that boat. You know, he got 1,000 subscribers from my people. And because I supported him, they support him. See, that's the problem I have with Johnny Cashville. I want to explain that. Maybe I've never explained that. When Ryan Upchurch took Johnny Cashville's royalty money, that was wrong. That was very wrong for him to do that. And I was very outspoken about it. And I was getting about 10,000 views per video then. My live streams were yanking 8,000, 9,000 people. Okay. And I spoke up about that quite a bit. And I would like, and because I supported Cashville over that, my supporters did as well. They were willing to support who I supported. I think some of them probably knew better, but did it anyway, just out of respect for me. And because of the noise we made, I would like to think that that played some small part in Upchurch doing the right thing and giving it back the way it should be, because he knew that was a suit he couldn't win. Now, could he have gotten it back without a bunch of people speaking up about it? Well, probably, but I bet it would have took longer. I bet he would have been without that money for another year or 6 months or something instead of a couple months. I mean, that guy called me crying when that happened. I mean, actually crying. So, that being said, what did Cashville do when it came time to stick up for me? What did he do? Well, he didn't have the courage to stick up for me. He didn't have the fucking spine. He sat right there, tee hee ha ha hoo hoo. He's a piece of shit. He'll always be a piece of shit. And most of the shit I heard about him is obviously true. I had people tell me, oh man, dude, don't trust him, man. He's fucking piece of shit, man. He's a backstabber, dude. And I was like, oh man, he seems like a pretty stand-up dude to me, man. You know, I'm like fucking defending him. Yeah, I should have listened. They were right. I'll do that, Teddy. I will. I'll put together a good hour-long sermon on that. I'm very knowledgeable about it. I'm not saying that to brag. It's something I invested a lot of time in when I was a teenager. And I had to go to a Catholic school. You know, we had Bible study for 2 hours a day. And I wanted to understand it. And I've sat in a room with 6 people that probably had a combined 100 years of biblical study, and interpretation, Hebrew, Islamic, and the Old Testament. There's so much stuff left out. The Book of Enoch. Oh my God, man. The Nephians. But yeah, those things we're seeing, those orbs, those Tic Tacs, those cigars, those turtle shells, doing all kind of freaky shit. The people seeing tall, like goofy looking, half translucent beings, and those are spirits testing our imagination. Because when things really get into motion, we're going to have to be able to mentally absorb it. And these are just tiny baby steps getting us to where we don't just completely freak out and lose it. We can keep our shit together as this thing plays out, I believe. And yeah, those are spirits. Those are spirit angels testing our imaginations, just like Revelation said. And digital currency is in the book of Revelation. Period. Centralized power is in there. Everybody is assigned a number. It's already there. Your Mac ID or your phone and your fucking debit card know everything about you. And your Google account, everything you search for, everything you look at, everything you buy, everywhere you go, everything you eat. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Up church. Yeah. Big time. No, yeah. Then the people that hide. Yeah. I got no respect for people that won't put their face on what they say. To me, they're just sissies, babies. Not even, they don't deserve any respect. Oh, yeah, that Gemini branding and see, yeah, I know what a pathetic turd that thing is. won't admit that Upchurch's views have fallen way the fuck off when they know that it has. They know it has. I mean, there's no denying it. He hasn't gotten 300,000 views on a video in a long time. And it's because of the shit he said about the Rodney family. It's because of what you pieces of shit do in his name. Normal people, I want you to understand, normal people can't stomach that shit. It makes them sick to listen to some twerp talk about someone's dead child with total fucking disrespect. That turns people off if they have even the slightest bit of intelligence. The only person that would support that kind of nonsense is somebody that's just really damn stupid. It should have offended every one of his fans. Every one of his fans should have spoke up and said, no, that's a bridge too far, Ryan. He might have woke up and not crushed his reputation. He's a laughing stock now. There ain't nobody in the industry that has any respect for him. He's all in his head thinking Nashville's worried about what he's doing, and I guarantee you they don't ever even think of him. They're spitting out fucking millionaires by the week. They don't give a fuck what that hick's doing. They never will. They offered him a deal. He turned it down. They don't care. There's a million more guys like him coming. He's got his fans. He's got crack squads so brainwashed that they think a recording contract with a major label is something bad. Imagine being that stupid. Imagine being that stupid to think that a recording contract with a major record label is like something bad. Could you imagine being that dumb? Ryan Upchurch will never have Alan Jackson's money, reputation, reach. He'll never have Jelly Roll's money, reputation, reach. Never. Not in a million years. He will never be any more than the amount of views he gets on YouTube. If he makes enough money to live his whole life and not have to work off of it, more power to him. Good. But for you to insinuate he's on the level of some of the stars that come out of Nashville, you guys are just dumb. Tim McGraw and Faith Hill have almost $1 billion fucking dollars. Now, Crack Squad, do you know how much $1 billion is? They don't have $3 million that they're blowing hand over fist. They have $900 million from a recording contract. And I guarantee you, Jelly Rolls recorded every song he wanted to record. Alan Jackson recorded every song he ever wanted to record. Garth Brooks recorded every song he ever wanted to record. You might have to kiss the record label's ass on the first album. But if you get about 3 hits off that sumbitch, they're kissing your ass for the rest of your career. You stupid simpletons. Of course, they believe that a Scooby-Doo episode is based on a real-life event, obviously. They believe 80,000 children can be missing from a town with a population of 11,000. Wrap your brain around that one. I get that shit in my comments from them simpletons all the time. They think there's 80,000 kids missing from Maui because Ryan said there was. There's only 11,000 people that live in that town. And only about 1/8 of them are children. And there ain't one missing child. Not one. There's not one missing child. Not a single one. Not one. They can't understand. They're so dumb. They don't understand how a flash fire can turn into a blowtorch in high wind. They're too dumb. They don't understand how a flash fire can fly through the air, land on a car, high wind hitting it, and just starts blowtorching a hole through the car and catches the car on fire, but nothing else. They don't understand that. But a smart person goes, oh, yeah, of course that would happen. Very common. They don't understand jet fuel won't melt steel. But you know what? A blast furnace will melt steel. Now, what's a blast furnace? You know what a blast furnace is? Air being forced up a chimney across an open flame. That will melt steel. Turn it into soup. That's how they melt steel, with a blast furnace. Well, when you fly an airplane through the 30th floor of a skyscraper and knock a big fucking hole in it and dump 12,000 gallons of jet fuel, and now it's a big chimney, it blowed all the windows out. So now it's a big chimney sucking air straight up through the tallest chimney you've ever seen. And the fire's on the 30th floor, and the wind's all coming up underneath it at 100 mile an hour. It's now a blast furnace, and it'll melt the shit out of steel. And then the building will fall on itself because the girders get weakened. If you're smart, you just understand these things. If you're the kind of person that thinks a Scooby-Doo episode can turn into a real life event because Ryan Upchurch, a dumb hick with barely a 9th grade education, said so, then you will never understand how that building turned into a big, huge blast furnace. But those of us with a brain that functions normally, we do. We get it. I see some of these people I don't know. I don't watch them. I honestly, God, don't. There's nothing going on any of them channels that would interest me in the slightest bit. Oh, I would imagine they did, dude. That I ain't no doubt about that. Austin React says they got pissed when I started supporting you more than any of them. They struck his old channel. Yeah, that's the kind of games they play. They've tried on mine. They've never won. YouTube's always sided in my favor. You can go check. I've never had a single strike, never had to take a single video down. Never had to hide a video because I was ashamed of it, like certain people, so they could go lie to the police. And then everybody's been showed that now. Everybody knows you lied. Everybody knows it's pure bullshit. Everybody knows you tormented me and my family for a year. They all know that now. So your Friday's not going to go the way you think it is. I wouldn't bet any money. Let me just tell you that, because you'll lose. You'll lose your money. I don't know that shrooms. Maybe they could. I don't know. I want to think it's about neurons. Okay. Neurons, firing. And I've never felt that on mushrooms, but I felt it on LSD. I want to try that toad shit. I want to try that. On LSD, I did. Shrooms just made me like see trails and like stuff. LSD gave me hearing that was so precise. Oh, Jesus. Like 100 times more than natural. It made my vision see in almost 3D. It made me unafraid to try things I've never tried. Like, I could go on for hours about it. it definitely opens up a part of your mind that you don't normally have access to. And it certainly enhances the things you do have access to, like hearing, sight, taste, smell, are all increased massively. Like my smell was so good, okay, that I could smell my girlfriend's perfume a day later after she had walked through a bar. I could still smell it. And it wasn't like she had it on all strong. It just makes it just increases that stuff so much. The hearing is what's really wild, man. I mean, you could lay on the ground and hear worms crawling in the dirt and dig the dirt up and get the worm. I'm not gonna hear it. I ain't no shit now. I'm crazy. I mean, that stuff really works. Anyway, I got to get off here. I agree. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But let me say something. I just want to touch on that before I go. Let me just leave you with this. Also, in that Mark of the Beast vision, it talks about symbolisms of Satan replacing Christianity. So, how has that materialized in the last 10 years, do you think? What can you have in a classroom and what can't you have in a classroom? Well, you can have a rainbow flag, but you can't have a Bible. The Grammys, this past one, they had this whole skit where it was like Satan and two demons. Eminem's new album, he's making a Satan symbol. Taylor Swift, same thing. The Old Town Road guy, what the fuck's his name? I forget. Blood and tennis shoes, whole big skit about Satan and having relations with men, women, animals. Just, it's that we're seeing that like never before. And there was something else. I just remembered. See them when I start talking about it, it all starts coming back. It also talks about marring of God's creations, meaning your body. Talks about people like degrading the human body. And well, what are we seeing? People getting their organs cut off, getting their breasts cut off, tattoos all over on every flat surface. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you got a tattoo. I'm just saying that we see that a lot now when we never used to see that before. And so it's not saying if you're a person that does that, you're bad. It's saying you will just begin to see these things. So I don't know what any of that means, but it's certainly happening. And I've just never seen so much of it like materialize. When I used to think, I honest to God thought the mark of the beast would be like a tattoo and you'd go to buy something and they would check and say, oh, you can't, when they were talking about controlling what you buy and controlling your money, controlling what you eat, where you eat, all this stuff. I always thought this would be like some mark on the body. Well, now I realize it's a MAC ID number and a debit card number. That's what it is. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. I'll put together a stream for you guys on that and we can get into it a little deeper. Catch you later. And Thomas, take that video to the news. Do the right thing. Turn them cops in. That was wrong. You can't support that kind of thing. I don't care what that kid did. Catch you later.